Okay, welcome. This is a boring title, and I am sorry. It's all I could come up with. I wanted to convey what it was actually about. How many in here are developers? How many are in here are not developers? Okay. Fantastic. So what I wanted to set the stage really fast. There's no code in here. This is all just so that nobody's disappointed. If you want to get up and leave now is the perfect time to do that. I will hold grudges. Just kidding. No, my name is Matt Kent. This is my Gmail account if you have any questions or whatever. I work at a company called Willis Towers Watson. We're actually on the 3rd floor of this same building. My manager's up here, so please speak kindly about me. So I'm a developer, and I've been a developer for a while, but I've got a passion for process improvement, okay? Technical practices. Continuous delivery was a big one for me. Like I read through that thing and I'm like, this is awesomeness. So I've pushed for those kinds of practices and I've got such a passion around it. The company actually asked me to be the Agile coach. And for our company, that meant that I was doing trainings for all of the Scrum Masters and then training on Scrum, right? We do implement Scrum. That's fading a little bit, but thank heavens. But so we do Scrum, and I was training all the Scrum Masters on Scrum practices and why we're doing those Scrum practices, right? I focused a lot on the principles behind that. That moved into doing trainings for the operations side because we were realizing very quickly that this is not just a development department thing. Things fall apart very quickly if we try to do this all rogue. And so I started to do trainings on the operations side, which has now moved into upper management as well. I've actually got another training next Wednesday I'm going to be doing. I've given this training quite a few times. The whole training is actually 4 hours long. You're going to get an hour of it, one part of the training. This is, we'll get into this. So in order to get started, I'm going to start with I'm sorry. Who has read the Agile Software Development Manifesto? Okay, so you've probably seen the principles a gazillion times. You're about to see a couple more, but it plays very much into the meaning behind this game, okay? So principle number 1, our highest priority is to satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. First off, continuous delivery, yes, this is exactly where Jez Humble and Dave Farley pulled the name for their practice of continuous delivery was straight out of principle number 1 for Agile development, okay? One thing I wanted to focus on very quickly though, valuable. We are supposed to be providing valuable software. Okay, value is a very interesting thing. Let's for fun pretend that I've got a house and I want to sell my house. And I'm going to put that up on the market, right? I've got to put a price tag on it, and I don't exactly know how much I want to ask for it. I don't know how to do that. So I may hire me a real estate agent, because he does this for a living, and he can give me a very good idea of what the value of my house, right? So I can put a price tag on it. What is my house worth?
Whatever somebody will pay for it. Whatever somebody will pay for it.
Good. Okay. Customer determines value. It's a fun thing, and it's a hard thing, something that we have to accept in our industry, well, everywhere. Customer determines value. We can put any price tag we want on anything, but unless somebody's willing to buy it, it's not valuable, right? That's what places value on our products. Okay, let's move on to principle number 2. There are only 2 that we're going to go through. So, principle number 2, welcome changing requirements even late in development. Agile processes harness changes for the customer's competitive advantage. Very quick question. Why does it say welcome changing requirements? And I could do a whole presentation on wanting to change the word requirements, but welcome changing requirements. Why doesn't it say handle them gracefully? Why doesn't it say deal with changing requirements? What would make us welcome changing requirements?
Well, sorry, it's in the verbiage itself is the attitude. It's like, yes, bring your requirements, we will adapt to them.
Good. Yes.
It also ties into 1, you can't provide valuable software if you're not willing to welcome change in requirements.
Yes. Interesting thing, changing requirements. Why do requirements change?
Value to add more value.
Okay, business needs change. Here's something else that's really fun. If you look in a book called Lean IT, this is what they say. Oh, and I needed to preface all of this as well. All of this is stolen, okay? I've got this from other sources. So I try to give credit where it's due. I pull this from other places though. So Lean IT, this is the book, great book. They say, Users are unable to articulate exactly what they need, yet they seem insistent about what they don't want once they see it. Have you ever delivered anything exactly what they asked for, and they're like, dude, this doesn't work. I want something else, and they try to change it, right? That's because they don't know what's valuable until they try it. And this is not because they're stupid, it's because none of us do. I put together a spreadsheet to help me with my budgeting, okay? I spent a couple of weeks of my free time putting this thing together, and then I plugged actual data in it, and found out very quickly it was useless. 2 weeks of development, I was the developer and the consumer. I didn't know it was useless until I used it, okay? So this is something to keep in mind. But you've got that dichotomy. Principle number 1 means customers determine the value. Principle number 2, requirements will change because the customers don't know what they want. They don't know what's going to be valuable until they see it, okay? So that's going to lay the premise of our poker chip game. I have voluntold these people that they're going to help me out today. I really appreciate it. So we've got Rodney, Brian, Walter, Ina. Okay, thank you so much, guys, for helping me out. They sat on the front row. So just let that be a lesson to everyone. Just kidding. Okay, so pretend that this is the table, okay? We've got 4 workers. We've also got, this is how work is going to run. And it's actually going to be flipped from this. We're going to start here with Rodney. He's going to do the work. He's going to pass it down to Ina. Ina's going to do the work. She's going to pass it to Walter. He's going to do the work. He's going to pass it to Brian. Brian's then going to put it up here. It's going to be timed. This is a 6-month deadline on a project. We've had experts come in and they told us that this work is going to give us 4,000 points of value, and it's going to be about 6 months long. Okay? So we've got the experts tell us it's going to be 6 months, so that's what we're going with. Because we don't want to be here for an actual 6 months, we're going to make every 30 seconds is going to count as a month. Okay? So we've got 3 minutes total to get through this. You guys ready? Now, how work happens. This is how work happens. Each stack, one at a time with your left hand, you're going to take the top one, you're going to flip it over. And you're going to create a new stack by flipping them over one at a time. Once you're done with that stack of 25, you're going to pass it down to the next person. Make sense?
Maybe each person has to flip them again?
Yes, so it's got to go through all people. Okay? Make sense? And we've got a user here he's actually going to be keeping the time as well. Once you deliver it, he's going to lay it in the month that it gets delivered in, and I'll be calculating the value. You ready? Yes.
This is going to be recorded for posterity.
Yes, for posterity purposes. Okay, are you ready? Set, go. Okay, already got quality problems, but it's fine. It's fine. We're okay, we're okay. As a business person, I've found I need to have a talk with Rodney for a minute, but is there anybody that's already left-handed that's doing this? Oh, see? See? Well, no, he's gonna. Huh? No, that's not how it works here. See, and for asking that question, you might get fired. So we're still in the first month though, so we're still good.
We're in the second month.
Oh crap. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. As the business person, I'm gonna say we're fine.
That's some sloppy code, Rodney.
It's a little teetery. Okay, he's passing it down. Thank you very much. Okay, now, okay.
Can I keep going?
Yes, please do. Yes.
You should stay busy, right?
Well, right. So let's keep it going. Yes.
And we're in the third month.
We're in the third month. Okay, guys.
I still haven't had to do any work.
Okay, this isn't right. Okay. Wow. I mean, I don't want to be critical, but okay. I mean, we're okay. How are we doing on time?
We are in the 4th month now.
From the last session, these two are very competitive over here.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, the southpaw over there is like the slowest one.
I don't think he feels any pressure.
Quality.
Okay. So we're doing. At this point, we might be wanting to ask for some overtime. Would it help if I brought in pizzas for dinner?
Yeah, sure.
Maybe a couple cots. We could just sleep in the office.
Diet Coke would be nice.
A Diet Coke. Okay.
5th month.
5th month. All right. Now, guys, I do want to remind you that experts came in and told us that this was a 6-month project. They committed you to it, though. All right. Where are we sitting?
And we're entering the 6th month now.
Oh, my word. Okay.
Hey, you might
It's okay.
deliver something.
If I spoke in a more earnest voice, would that make you go faster?
And delivery.
Motivational
We have
posters?
delivery.
I think we need motivational posters.
Yeah, okay. I've got a couple of cat posters. Just believe. Just believe.
Synergize.
Synergize. See, we've even got the buzzwords going, please.
You're supposed to change the requirements.
Time.
Okay, time. Let's stop where you are. Just stop.
Pencils down.
Yeah, pencils down. Okay. As a business person, I'm extremely disappointed. But how's the user doing? How do you feel?
I didn't really get a complete product.
Okay.
I was really late.
And it was very late. Walter's over here like, not my problem. Okay. So as the business, we send you guys to conventions. We send you guys to conferences to go figure out how the heck we can do this faster. What is going wrong here? How do we do better? And in fact, we've calculated things. We were supposed to get 4,000 points of value, and we ended up with 400. So if you could change anything, as the business, we're gonna let you do whatever. Okay? You've been to the conferences. You found out how to move faster. What are we gonna do? What would you change? Yes.
20% at a time.
Okay. So fewer at a time. So batch size. Bring down the batch size.
size.
Okay. 2 caveats to this. Okay. First off, each individual one has to be flipped on its own. Okay. You can't take the whole stack and flip it. Second caveat is that it has to run through each person. So that actually would work. So we can do smaller batch sizes. What else do you want to do? Yes.
Let us change the process part of way through. Let us do something else. Use our right hand.
Okay.
When we realize the left hand is too slow.
Sure. If you want to use both hands, that's fine. You want to go for it? Okay. Great. We'll open that up. What else do you want to do? Yeah.
Can you do all the stacks simultaneously between the 4 people?
No, they have to run through them all, and it gets very confusing. I have tried it. It gets very confusing if you're trying to figure out which one went through who. Yes.
Walter and Ina, I think, sit closer.
Hey, perfect. How about we have you guys slide down to this
Would it
end?
help if we installed a wall between departments?
Yeah, maybe there was too much talking going on. I think there might have been too much communication. Okay, does this sound okay? So you guys can use both hands. Okay, and we're gonna do smaller sizes, right? Okay, just very quickly, let's all take a look at the screens because I spent a lot of time on this slide deck, so I want you guys to pay attention. So this is exactly when you look at like Scrum, right? This is what we do. We take our big problems and we break them up into smaller items and we start running them through. This is perfect. So this is, you guys went to the conferences, exactly. And we're gonna push it out a little bit at a time, right? Smaller batch sizes. Because what that does is we're gonna release more often. Have you guys ever seen this? Now this is from, I actually forgot to put his name on these slides. This is from John Alsop. But he talks about the fact that the longer you go with a change set, the bigger that change set gets. When you try to release that change set, what happens? The world is on fire, right? Okay, everything goes crazy. So then you try to do it less often because it's hard to release. So then you do it less often, and then those change sets get bigger. And so, okay, what you want to do is more often, right? Smaller change sets. That is much scarier than that. So, awesome. So we're gonna run through these. You guys ready?
Yes.
Okay, we've got our product owner that is.
Waiting for our product.
Yeah.
I'm prioritizing the backlog.
Okay. Wonderful. Okay, are we ready? We're gonna try round 2. Ready? Timer ready?
Yes.
Okay, ready, set, go.
Okay.
Now, normally a rule I would do on this is not both hands simultaneously because work has to get done a bit at a time. Anyways, it's fine.
Okay,
We'll let this run. We're in month number 2, but I see a lot more happening. As a business person, I'm really happy about this. Ooh, we've got the dealer over here.
One missing.
He's got the chips like
Another delivery.
Another delivery, okay. Okay, I see a lot more activity going on. More people are busy.
We're in the third.
What's that? Everybody's working. I'm loving it. I pay all these people, so I like it.
Everyone's busy.
Yeah,
Before I
serious.
didn't have to do anything.
See, Agile makes your life harder.
So what you're saying is Agile's great for the owners.
Exactly. Yes, see? See? But I wanted you to go to a conference so that you get sold on the idea, and then I can sell you down the ship.
That's why they paid to go to the town.
Okay,
Exactly.
Fourth month. We're about halfway delivered, maybe more, actually.
Wow, and I'm really loving this. We might need to call a meeting, though, just to talk about, I don't know, something. What's that? Yeah, we might end up with some change. We can reorg. All your process ideas. I didn't want to say anything, but. Okay, yeah, I know, right? He's got that down. He's like,
Good news, we're going to get the whole product in time.
holy cow, I'm so happy.
All right, we're done.
Woo! Stop the timer. Oh, okay, nice. Okay, so as a business person, I'm loving it. I think that's fantastic that we got all the work done. Why did we get all the work done? What happened?
Better processes.
Okay. Smaller batch sizes. It really does work. It really pushes it through faster. It's amazing that it works, but it does. Okay? What else?
More freedom. We were able to come up with our own methods.
Good. Exactly.
Kind of along those same lines, I noticed Ina changed up her process several times when she felt stagnant or whatever.
Right.
And she would change it up again.
Yes.
If she needed to.
Awesome. Okay. Now, all of that is amazing. And now I'm going to throw the wrench in the works, okay? Just for fun. So remember that 4,000 points of value we were after? We're sitting, we've done the calculations, and we're sitting at 3,200. What happened? I know we can get 4,000 out of this. What happened? Why didn't we get full value? We delivered the whole thing.
Right at the end, 3 people weren't working. Maybe if they jumped in again.
Okay.
People working doesn't determine value.
Very true.
Yeah, the value is solely based on customer utilization.
Yes. The business changed, right? So what if yes.
Well, could part of it be the fact that until you get the first batch through, they can't use the product at all?
True.
So if he could have used, if we had even smaller batches to the point where he got stuff immediately, he could start using what he had.
Very true.
All
Yes.
the way through.
And we are going to get in that. That's a very, very good point. What if I told you that the colors were valued differently? What if those features weren't all of the same value? What if we implemented a whole bunch of features that had 0 value, or a feature that had negative value?
I found features that got in my way sometimes.
Oh, that's crazy. Okay, so let's talk about that for a second. All right? So I'm not a huge proponent of Scrum, and I thought for a long time that I hated Scrum. I've come to find out I don't hate Scrum. I hate what Scrum becomes when it gets sold to people, okay? Here's the thing. Let me run you through an actual example of what happened on our team. Okay, so, well, you really can't read this, but we were trying to create a system where we could identify doctors and associate them with participants. Okay, we're in the healthcare industry. That's what we were doing. We were creating a new feature to associate doctors with the participants so that when we showed them plans, we could just show them plans that had to do with or doctors that had to do with their plans, right? Plans that would cover their doctors. It all worked out. Okay, we decided at first we're going to search by last name. Next, we're going to allow them to search by zip code. Then we're going to sort by distance. So we took that first one, we broke it off, made that our sprint goal, broke that down into sprint backlog. Remember all the things that are happening? We ran that through our sprint, and out popped this thing at the end, right? We gave it to the users, and guess what happened?
Nobody used it.
No, they did. And what's interesting is we came back to the backlog, and we said, awesome. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to let you search by zip code. And they said, actually, guess what? We have been assuming the zip code of the participant when we've done doctor searches. We've been assuming that. We made the system just assume that, and our users were like, that actually is working better than we thought it would. Could we deprioritize that? Because sorting by distance actually would be more valuable. We're like, sure, let's pop that up. We'll do that next. And they're like, and we've also found that if we could save that doctor to the profile, that would help us out a lot, and even more than searching by zip code. So can we bump that in there too? We're like, sure, throw it on the stack and we'll get going, right? This is how Scrum is supposed to work. You deliver, you get that feedback, and you then revisit your backlog. What goes wrong with Scrum? All of this. Here's the interesting thing with Scrum, and it's very easy to do. We did it. I've done it many times with Scrum. The focus becomes on the practices, right? We've got 5 meetings, and then we've got 3 roles. How do you know you're doing Scrum? You're doing those things. So you start measuring those things. We're doing those things, and so we're doing Scrum. Now we're Agile, except we start missing the point that the whole purpose of all of this is to deliver that so that we can get feedback that plays into this. What happens a lot of times is we end up with a static backlog. Have you ever broken all the work out and then you start ripping your way through that thing? Heck yeah, that's what Scrum helps us with. We break that thing down into small chunks and we're delivering often, and we are blazing through that backlog. Well, not everything in there is going to be valuable or of the same value. Okay, so what that implicitly states when you have a static backlog is that David Hussman actually coined this term, product arrogance. We know what our customer wants. And we've broken it all up into small chunks, and we're going to burn our way through it. We know what they want. There's a problem with product, with this kind of thinking. It gets us into project thinking. Who works on projects? Yeah, I do too still. It's fun. Problem with projects is it's a set amount of work we've decided on up front, right? We've got 3 months to get through this project. Projects are focused on output. How much stuff can we get done? For efficiency, how quickly can we burn through that stuff? And success means we got it done. On time and under budget. Ever heard it? We kind of live by it, right? That's a problem, and this is the problem. From a book by the name of Lean Enterprise. 60 to 90% of ideas do not improve the metric they were intended to improve. I'm going to let that stew for a minute. You're more likely to be wrong. In fact, Jez Humble, one of the guys that came up with the continuous delivery, he's started to tell people, assume you're wrong, because you're more likely to be right that you're wrong. Okay, but this is what Scrum does for us, is it tells us to prioritize the most important stuff up top. That's why we burn through it, right? We want to prioritize up top. But this gets worse. It's impossible to tell in the absence of data which ones will be lemons. Customers don't know what's valuable until they see it and they use it. Okay? That's when they start, when you can start gathering that data, that's when you know what's actually valuable, but they don't know until they see it. 60 to 90% of those are going to be wrong. That gets crappy. Jeff Patton, the guy that came up with story mapping, says, proposed software is a hypothesis. We're right less than you'd think. Okay, where does it all go wrong then? Has everybody worked with user stories? Okay, this is from a lady, Gabrielle Benefield. I saw her go through this exercise and I really liked it. Let's create a user story very quickly for this class, okay? As a, right, we've got our as a, I wanna, so that. As a training participant, that's you guys, I want a cup of coffee so that what? Okay, stay awake, good. Okay, awesome. So now we've got our user story. It's broken, completely broken. As a training participant, is your main goal of being in this class to stay awake? And if it is, I'm going to shoot you. No, just kidding. Learn something. Is a cup of coffee the most valuable way of doing that? Like the best way to accomplish that goal? Yes?
No, because if we have a cup of coffee and no instructor, it'd be no good.
That is a very good point, right? Unless he's a bad instructor, and then that's, yeah. So we start, have you ever done this? And I have many times, right? You start with, this is what projects give you, right? These are the things we're going to do. And as we start making this into stories, we pull that thing that we've already decided on. Okay, we want to do this as a, I don't even know who we're doing this for. I don't know, okay, we want to do this so that, I don't know, what do you guys think? The purpose behind what we're doing should determine what we're doing, right? And what we've got is that flipped around. And what that leads to is a development team that's focused on delivery, measuring, and adapting. Have you seen this before? Deliver, measure, adapt. Lean Startup talks a lot about this. Deliver, measure, adapt. Okay, the problem is that we get in this cycle. What we deliver, but then what we're measuring is how fast we delivered. And when we adapt, we're just trying to get faster the next time around that loop. Okay, we've got our project, and we're trying to burn through it as quickly as it can. The problem with that is that it puts the business side, and this is all from my own experience anyways, it puts our business side in their own loop. They know the objective, the who, what, and why, and the new target conditions that we're after. They do know the business value that we'd like to provide, right? But they get scared of coming up with something and handing it over to the development because of process, because they've got to come up with a project. I need to come up with something big enough to become a 3-month or 6-month project, right? And not only that, it's going to take them a long time to burn through it. I need to come up with the right something. Without any data, I'm going to start from here, and I'm going to come up with the right answer and give it to you, then you can burn through it. I have a couple of small ideas that might help, and I'd like to try out, but it's not a project. So it's not big enough to be a project, so I can't really try that out. I've heard this. This has been very enlightening for me to do trainings with business people. I thought they sat in rooms thinking of ways to make us miserable. And some of them do, but for the most part, they're actually trying to deliver on value, but they don't know how to do it because we've got this process. We've got them spinning their wheels, okay? So how do we break free of that? What if we tacked on the front of there, we think we know what our customers want? All of a sudden it becomes more humble, right? We get rid of the arrogance and we recognize we don't know, and it takes us from project thinking into product thinking. Product thinking is focused on outcomes. Did I have the impact I was after? It's focused on effectiveness. Did it actually solve the problem I was trying to solve? Success means we added value, positive value. Make sense? Okay, so knowing all of this, we're going to run this one last time. You guys ready? Okay, so if you guys already know that the colors are different values, he won't know the value of that color until you deliver it. And I'll tell you what the value is when we get there. What would you do different?
This way instead of that way, so we can try each chip
Okay.
as they come in, and he can tell us what the value is, so that we can then skip the ones that are
Beautiful.
valueless and start with the best ones.
Awesome. Okay, just for fun, do you want to try one at a time? Just do one at a time.
One of each color.
Just flip it over to the next person and go in continuous delivery style. I'm just throwing things out there.
And then you listen,
Does that make sense?
and
With
then you
the,
listen to his values and you can adjust your backlog appropriately.
is that good? All right. Timer ready?
I'm ready.
Ready, set, go.
Is it black?
Black is 0 value. White is 0 value. Blue is medium value. Red is high value.
We're going red.
Green is negative value. Wow. Okay. I kind of like this new system.
Okay, second month.
We're in month number 2. Blue is medium value. Green is negative value. And white and black are no value, so we'll stop after blue. Does that sound okay?
The user's dropping our product.
I know.
Oh my word. Dude.
There was a pen tech problem.
Stinking audit.
Okay, we're in the third month,
We're now in month 3.
but we're done.
Boom, stop. Okay.
White or green chips, because we don't want to give them to you.
Okay. Whew. Okay, so first off, as a business person, I'm extremely happy because we just went from 3,200 points of value to 4,700 points of value. We blew our goal out of the water, okay? So let's talk about why that happened. I've talked about the problems with some of our arguments, right? When you go to the business and you start telling them, we want to do these technical practices like continuous delivery because it's not easy, it takes time and effort, but we're going to do this thing because it's going to make us go faster. You've got a business person on the other side looking at everything going, yeah, but it's not solving my problems. I've still got this big, hairy problem. We've done one project to try to solve it, and it's still here. I'm trying to figure this out. You guys moving faster isn't helping. So you're going to get pushback, okay? It takes time to implement these things and effort. So how do you get them on board? What are the benefits of getting in with continuous delivery, for example? Experimentation. Let's talk about this for just really quickly. Jez Humble also said this: you're going to discover a bunch of stuff in the course of building your product that will radically change what it is you build. Okay? Very interesting. Now, with that, the business might come back and say, awesome, okay, well, let's start experimenting. Here's the next thing we want you to try is this thing. We're gonna just focus on this thing, you get it out, and we'll see how it goes, and then we'll come back, right? We wanna get to continuous delivery, we will, that's awesome. But for now, we wanna start finding out, experimenting, right? Here's the problem with that. These guys down here, I'm not gonna say their names, they did a study, and they wrote a white paper called the alignment trap. And what they found, they interviewed over 400 C-level executives, right? And they asked them how they're doing on they call it IT, but its development is included in there. And what they came up with was this quadrant. On the x-axis, you've got efficiency. How quickly can we get stuff done? The further you are to the right, the faster you're going, right? You can put stuff out much quicker. On this side, they call it alignment. I'm going to call it effectiveness. It's how well it met the demands of the business. How well did it actually solve the problems that they were having? Okay, over 75% of those that were interviewed said they fell in this zone, maintenance zone. They do not get stuff out very quickly, and when they do, it doesn't help much. It's a lot of expense for no real value. Obviously, we want to be over here, right? They called it IT-enabled growth. This is where development becomes an actual asset to the company in driving revenue. This is amazing stuff, right? And there's a couple ways to get there. Let's look at those. At the top, they found what they called the alignment trap. When you try to align first and you start to experiment before you can get stuff out very quickly, you run the risk of running into the alignment trap. It took much, much longer to go this route. It's cheaper and faster to go this direction. Hey, right down there, continuous delivery. Do you see that? Technical practices that make it go faster. So even though they weren't focused really on the benefits to the business or aligning with the business yet, because they got faster first, now all of a sudden, experimentation became much, much easier. Does this all make sense? If you go the other route, it's much longer. This is the argument you make to the business, right? No, first we do this. This is not years long. This is, we focus on this first. As we start getting stuff out quicker, we want to start aligning. But this is the point, and this is where I feel like a lot of developers go wrong. We make the argument that this is our end goal. This is not the end goal. This is a means to another end. We want to get faster so that we can deliver more value. We want to experiment for you guys. Does it make sense? Okay. If you can easily change your decisions, this means it's less important to get them right. That was Martin Fowler. I love this. What this does is it means that you get these people out of the scared position that they're in. If they have something they want to try, well, sure, give it to us. We will throw that thing out there. We will throw it through our pipeline, get that thing implemented as quickly as possible, and get it out there. You can start seeing what it's doing. We get away from the paralyzing effect we have on these people, trying to come up with the right answer. Okay? One of the arguments, okay, I'm going to go back to here so that people don't read ahead. One of the arguments that I have heard and I've actually thought is that, well, this is awesome. Experimentation is really good for new products, right? But we've got this old thing, this legacy product that's been around for a while. It's not going to help us as much. We already know what the customer wants. Problem. People that are already measuring this stuff are finding pretty much the exact same values, okay? Netflix considers 90% of what they try to be wrong. Netflix has been around for a while. They've got an established customer base. They've got an established product. And they still, 90% of what they try is wrong, okay? It doesn't get better. You have to be able to experiment. One of my favorites is Ronnie Kahavi. He worked at Amazon and then at Microsoft. He was the guy that was measuring the impact of all the stuff they were delivering. And what he found was, in essence, roughly a third of the things that they delivered had a positive impact. A third of it had no impact, and a third of it had a negative impact. So I was nice to you guys with this stuff down here, okay? So, remember, this doesn't get better. You need it on legacy products. You need it on new products. It doesn't matter you need to be able to experiment. You don't know what your customers want. They don't know what they want. Good? Okay, next benefit. Cutting costs. Can you guys take a look? Oh, they already cleared it out. I'm just kidding. It's totally fine. So yeah, so we had a white, black, and a green stack that were left. We didn't do any of those. We did one of each. That's very true. And the value of that, it still provided value because we knew very quickly that we didn't want to do those things, right? So there are some ways that we can cut costs. Okay, I lied. There's another principle I'm going to throw at you, not just the first two. Principle number 10 is my favorite. Simplicity, the art of maximizing the amount of work not done is essential. I was confused about what it meant at first, but let me show you a couple of examples, okay? Let's say we've got our backlog of items. We've already broken out the work. We know what we're going to do next. We've broken out our items and we start working top to bottom because that's what we're told in Scrum. And we get to the third item and we realize this is not going to solve our problem. Because we've been delivering, often, we've got feedback and we know this isn't going to solve our problem. Do we just keep going till the end? No, we pivot. I always think of Friends episode where they're carrying the couch up the pivot. Anyways, it's totally fine. Okay, that's one way. Let's say you pivot and you pivot onto something that does work and it's providing value. Ever heard of diminishing returns? Right? At some point, the value that you're receiving from the effort you're giving is going to start to taper off. You want to stop right about here. How do you know where here is? Continuous delivery, right? You're delivering and getting that feedback often, and then we can say, oh, we're gonna pivot again, but not because it's wrong, because our returns are diminishing now. We want to stop. The similarity between these two things, project, okay? Project. If we run this in a project fashion, we will get to here and then find out it's not providing the value that we wanted. We will get to here and realize, oh, we could have stopped a while ago, apparently. Apparently they didn't need everything, okay? We eliminate a lot of work that we don't need to do by getting stuff out quickly and experimenting. Are we good? Okay, I'm blazing through this because there's a lot and I don't know what time it is. 36. Okay, good. I'm right on track. Benefits. Value sooner. This is where you talked about, right? Once he has it, he can start using it. Maybe that helped with the value. Has anybody ever heard of cost of delay? Okay, it's a very fun concept. It's awesome. I'm going to break it down very, very simple. This is oversimplified by a lot. But let's say, for example, we have something that's a feature that's going to take us 12 months to implement. It's going to give us 24 points of value, whatever that is. And we're going to deliver it in December. Nothing's going to go wrong because that always happens. And we're going to get all 24 points, okay? Awesome. We develop for all year. December we deliver. Boom, it's awesome. It's a great success. We get 24 points. What if, on the other hand, we could deliver half of that partway through the year? All of a sudden, we start accruing these things, and you'll notice the difference, right? What if we did a little at a time and we started handing stuff out? The difference that you end up with, that's your cost of delay. You just cost yourself a bunch of money because you didn't have it out and providing that value early enough on. Make sense? We wait, we lose that potential revenue. Are we good? Okay. Also,
Excuse me.
yes?
In your research, does that cost of delay counter the idea that customer perception that this isn't done yet?
Okay. So the question being, if you give it to the customer before it's all the way done, is there a perception that it's not all the way done and it's not fantastic and it won't work, right? Okay, there can be, and that is a very real, risk that you need to mitigate. I will, as an example, I like to throw this one out. Has anybody used Amazon recently? Okay. On Amazon, have you ever gone to checkout and you're starting to check out with the product you're trying to buy and it's like, hey, you might also like, and it brings up a bunch of suggestions. Do you know where that came from? What's that?
End caps.
Well, what happened was a developer decided, hey, we've got all this data. We got a ton of data. I mean, they're data-driven. So we've got all this data. We could totally tell and give suggestions to people on checkout of other things that other people that have purchased that item have looked for. We could totally get that. And the VP of sales said, heck no, don't do that. That's a bad idea, because what you're going to do is you're going to distract them. And if they're in checkout, we don't want to distract them, because even if they go and look at that item, they won't come back and finish the purchase that they were making, right? So no. Well, he did it anyways. So what he did though, and this gets back to your point, he put it out as a test on a very small number of customers and gathered data. And with that data, very quickly that became a very high priority, because they were seeing very quickly it's working. Even though it was not very well done, he just kind of threw it together and put it out there. He was a developer doing some UI work, which is a little scary a lot of times. But he put it out there and it actually drove some revenue. There is some risk there though, that people will feel like this isn't complete, like this is, what the heck is up with this? And designers hate that, I will tell you that right now. But if you can do it in a way that risk is very low, it's a very small number of our customers, I'm just gonna try this out on them. But that takes infrastructure, which comes through technical practices that we're talking about. So that's the kind of stuff that you can offer to the business. Good, but very good question. Did that answer your question, by the way? Okay. Okay, with this, because we're starting to deliver very often and get things out, and we're very interested in what impact it's having on the business and on our customers, what we can then do is then we can streamline this, and we end up just focusing on what are we after, okay? What impact are we trying to make? What are the outcomes we expect to see from that? What value do we see us driving from this? And because we as developers are not just spitting stuff out, but we're interested in the impact that what we're delivering is having, we're going to be very interested to be a part of those conversations, okay? All of a sudden, these people come over in this area, and we start having discussions much, much sooner. And together, we come up with not projects, but a whole horde of options that we're going to try, okay? We know what outcomes we're after, and so we're going to start delivering those. And you'll notice that these didn't change, but what they mean changed a lot, right? Delivery means we deliver fast, but what we're measuring isn't so much anymore to do with how fast we got it out. That's all contained up here. That's one small step. We're measuring the outcomes that we were after, right? And because we're measuring the outcomes that we came up with the business people, they're going to be very interested in those conversations. Does it make sense? Like you take two separate groups and you bring them together, and then kumbaya happens, and we decide on adapting together. We come up with more options, and these are not separate meetings. Please don't take it that way. This happens constantly, okay? We get away from the mindset of projects, and we get into what impact are we having, and let's adapt. This is where Agile development really shines. Okay. Oh, this is one of my favorite things. Delivery. The reason we can measure what impact this is having on customers is because delivery means we're putting it out in production. I do not suggest that we test anything in production except value. You cannot get it any other way. You can only learn so much with the highest fidelity prototypes. Eventually, you need to get real, okay? Value is one thing. You can make all kinds of assumptions, but until it's in the field, until it's in the wild, you will not know if it's actually going to provide value. Fun, right? So this is what you can take to the business people and say, guess what we want to do? We want to put it in production to see if it breaks anything. No, bad. Okay, last thing I'm going to mention here. These guys, and I'm not going to attempt his name, they came up with this white paper, and the whole paper is actually about cost of delay, and if you ever, I would go out and look it up, but black swan farming. The idea with this is that if you measure value over time, what you'll find is that a lot of the things that you deliver, most of the time, you're going to deliver things that aren't fantastic. But you're looking for those things. When you do deliver something that's of value, remember that shopping cart, the suggestions in the shopping cart, and they were awesome. They all of a sudden drove a lot of revenue. Now you see those suggestions everywhere on Amazon, right? When you do find those things that drive value, usually they're big. So what you'll usually end up with is, hey, we tried something, didn't have great impact. Nope, 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 nope. Holy cow, right? what we can do if we are able to implement the agile development practices that we're talking about, like technical practices, right? And we can drive ourselves to move much, much faster, get things out so that we can experiment more often, we can start farming for those. We can start finding the needle in the haystack and find that it's golden, right? We can go find those things, and this is what you can actually provide to the business. And with that, you're done. Okay.